you don't do it right.
Guys, oh no. Oh no.
So yeah, as you can tell by the title, I watched Fairly OddParents, Fairly Odder. I remember when the trailer for this socioeconomic noir thriller of a show dropped, and it caused quite the commotion online. Everything from not Drake Bell to how unfunny everything looked, and even more recently to the forward-facing Mr. Crocker, which has now entered my catalog of sleep paralysis demons. So congratulations, Paramount Plus.
Everyone was saying how awful and how much of a cash grab it looked like, and so I had to check it out for myself.
So yes, I once again fished my Paramount Plus subscription out of the dumpster to watch the first episode of Fairly Odder. I thought they were going to release these episodes on a weekly basis like they did for the iCarly revival, but now I know why they didn't. Because if they did, no one would tune in for episode 2. It's almost like they were self-aware with how cringy the first episode is.
I really tried coming into this with an open mind, guys. I tried. I mean, I love Fairly OddParents.
In fact, I literally just spent hours researching it for a video where I talked about the weirdly deep lore of the show. So that's basically the equivalent of having a bachelor's degree in Fairly OddParents knowledge. As much of a cash grab as this looked like, I really wanted it to succeed. And I just want to get a quick PSA out there. Before I go into whatever this pilot episode was, I am not hating on any of the actors here, especially the child actors.
As an aspiring director myself, I will always give the actors the benefit of the doubt, because I know they're just doing what they're told.
It was the writers, directors, and producers that wrote and saw this and thought, yeah, that looks good.
And if this was just a normal cringy modern Nickelodeon show, then I wouldn't dislike it as much as I do.
But this show committed one mortal sin that is hard to forgive, and it has to do with everything that was set up with the entire masterpiece of a show that came before it. Or at least the first handful of seasons of that masterpiece, but you know what I mean.
So, without further ado, I guess, let's jump into Fairly OddParents, Fairly Odder.
So, we start off this live-action show with an animated Timmy Turner without his iconic buck teeth.
Wow, we're only 2 seconds in and it already doesn't make sense. Okay.
But I guess, nope, gotcha. He was just hiding them. Now, how did he hide his buck teeth under his lip? Why did he hide his buck teeth under his lip?
Well, they give us the fantastic answer of never bringing it up again.
Okay, listen, I know this is a really nitpicky thing to worry about, but it really should have been a warning sign for me. Because this very opening shot, not even scene, just one shot, just kind of acts as a poetic metaphor for how this show doesn't understand Fairly OddParents. And I actually find that kind of beautiful. This leads into a montage of things that I would rather be watching. They use this montage as kind of a catching up point, which at first confused me, because why would anyone who is watching this show not know about the basic story of Fairly OddParents?
But after watching the pilot, it makes total sense. Because no one who grew up watching the original show is young enough to appreciate pure screenwriting gems like these.
Let's go?
It's cinema. Actually, this montage is the best part of the episode. And maybe that's just by default, but still. I also really appreciate how they included the original Fairly OddParents before it became the show we know today. As it turns out, this video is a present that Cosmo and Wanda made for Timmy. Or should I say, not Drake Bell? Yeah, listen, everyone on the internet has already talked about how this guy does not fit the role of Timmy Turner. Like, when this image dropped, a cultural reset happened. No one was the same after it.
But weirdly enough, I think there's a lot bigger things to worry about than the casting of Timmy Turner, so moving on.
Actually, never mind. We have to talk about something.
Not in a million years, sport.
Yep, this show has a laugh track.
Listen, Nickelodeon shows having a laugh track obviously isn't uncommon.
But I don't think I've ever seen a show that uses the laugh track as much as this show does. This show spams the laugh track like Johnny Test spammed the whip sound effect. Now, there's only two possible explanations for this. One, the editors of this show must have never heard a joke before and really thought that every line was pure comedy gold. Or two, they were being held at gunpoint to make this show as funny as possible because they knew what their audience would be. Kids who laugh when other people laugh.
But, joke's on them because I watched it too. Which is actually probably more of a joke on me, but moving on.
I'm not saying all shows with a laugh track are bad. I mean, I still binge reruns of Victorious, Drake and Josh, and iCarly to this day. But you wanna know why the laugh track there doesn't bother me? Because those shows were actually funny and well written. Also, this show mixes in animated scenes too, and they look like they have the budget of whatever spare change they robbed from Squidward when he was poor.
And let me tell you, mixing a laugh track with animation is just as weird and uncomfortable as it sounds.
This is where the human scum stay.
Like, please, help me. There's no way this show is real. So this show pulls a Toy Story 3 because Timmy is headed to college. Princeton to be exact. Oh, and he's giving away his fairies to his cousin and moving on with his life.
Wait, what?
Now, hold on a minute here. Back this up. You're telling me that Timmy Turner, someone who has relied on and made a genuine friendship with his fairies for basically the last half of his entire life, is just gonna give them away and not even think twice about it.
So what was the point of the entire original show?
I literally just said this in my Fairly OddParents lore video, but this show should have ended with Timmy having to leave his fairies behind. Imagine how emotional this final scene would be. Timmy walks off into the sunset, his heart filled with hope and aspirations for the future. As much as he doesn't want to leave them, according to the rules, this is something he has to do now. He's tearing up and looks back at Cosmo and Wanda, both of them tearing up too. Timmy says to them, Cosmo, Wanda, don't be sad, because you did your job. You made me happy. Then, Cosmo and Wanda get sent to the next kid, and smile as their new child mirrors who Timmy used to be. What once was a gut-wrenching scene turns to hope, as they can't wait to make this new child's life better, just like they did with Timmy.
But, nah, who cares about that, right?
We gotta make Timmy not care at all and come up with a contrived reason as to why this isn't against the rules so we can get to the quirky and different girl and to the kid who says let's go every other sentence.
Because that's what this was all about.
Yeah, I don't know if I can even make it clear to you guys just how much I hate everything about this, but I'm going to try to. This is so unbelievably, astronomically out of character for Timmy here. This kid fought his entire life to keep Cosmo and Wanda after so many chances where they could have been taken away from him. But now he's just like, nah, I'm good. And look, I get what they're going for here. They're trying to say that he's all grown up now and doesn't need them anymore. Except they never show that. And actually, they don't even say that either. It just kind of happens. In fact, that's actually kind of the best way to describe this show. Stuff just kind of happens. My problem isn't that he's leaving them behind. It's that they aren't even showing it as something he has to do. He's just doing it because why not, I guess? I mean, Cosmo and Wanda were literally ready to go to Princeton with him. This should have been a mutual goodbye, both parties knowing that it's for the better. But no, he just abandons them and then leaves them with whoever these people are. So, not even 2 minutes in, this show tries to get the audience to stomach something so unbelievably stupid and contrived, and then just moves on like it's nothing.
Well, guess what? I'm not moving on.
Some people move on, but not us. It doesn't even matter what comes next. The rest of this show could literally be the Citizen Kane of TV, and I would still not be able to get fully on board with it. Because you are ruining what a perfect finale for the original show could and should have been like. And if you're gonna comment on this video, well, of course he has to give them away. There wouldn't be a reboot if he didn't.
Okay, then they shouldn't have made this reboot.
Well, there's actually a lot of reasons why they shouldn't have made this reboot, but this is the biggest one.
So, I'm gonna try to move on and talk about the rest of this pilot episode. I'm sorry for going on a bit of a rant there. I'm gonna try to do better.
Alright, so they immediately give us the explanation of how Timmy giving his fairies to someone else isn't against the rules, which has been set up since 2001 by the way, but you know, who's counting?
And don't worry, it's just as contrived as you would expect.
So apparently, Timmy, off screen, went to ask Jorgen if he could do this, and Jorgen said yes.
Yes, Jorgen, the Jorgen von Strangle, said yes.
He said yes to something that completely violates the rules. Something he is so passionate about and has never been okay with them being broken.
Okay, I'm gonna try to restrain myself here and not go on another rant. What?
I honestly don't even know if I have the energy to go on a rant here, but this is the stupidest and most contrived explanation I have ever heard for any show or movie ever. And I saw The Last Jedi. Oh, but he didn't just ask Jorgen normally. He asked Jorgen while he was playing Zombie Unicorn Attack. So I guess Jorgen is an epic gamer now too? Okay. Thank you, Fairly Odder.
Okay, so we haven't even gotten to the main plot and characters yet, so let's just go see what's going on with them. Maybe it will distract me from everything I've seen so far.
So Timmy has a cousin now?
Okay, you guys know my cousin Vivian, right?
No, I actually don't. So this show tries to pull a Drake and Josh, except in the most unfunny way possible. Because Vivian, Timmy's cousin, is moving in with her new stepmom and stepbrother. And she has the completely new and never seen before personality of being a quirky, not like other girls girl. Okay, whoa, hold up. Timmy said she needs his fairies just as much as he did when he was a kid.
Except there is no way these situations are comparable at all.
Timmy's parents hardly ever even acknowledged him, and for the most part didn't even know his name, and he was constantly being literally abused by Vicky, while Vivian, who has a clear loving father who knows her name and wants the best for her, just has a hard time meeting new people, and I guess that's why she needs fairies?
See, this bugs me.
Fairy distribution was always a special part of Fairly OddParents lore. You couldn't just give them out to everyone. A child had to be in actual distress or danger for them to get them. These kids get fairy godparents because they need wishes, while Vivian gets them just because she wants wishes. She literally says that in the show she wants the life she thought she was getting. Well, I'm sorry, Vivian. There are kids out there being literally abused and neglected like Timmy was, but sure, let's give fairies to you just because you're minorly inconvenienced with all of these people caring for you. In fact, these people care about her so much that they throw a surprise party for her.
Timmy got abused, but I guess this is bad too.
Okay, so we get introduced to her new stepbrother, who I literally don't even remember the name of because he will forever be known to me as the Let's Go kid.
Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go?
And if you were wondering, yes, he is very annoying.
But for the record, I think the actor is doing a great job in doing exactly what the directors are telling him to do.
Interesting enough, the only people who have somewhat funny lines are the parents.
Oh, no, thank you. I really didn't want to get you anything.
I mean, it's still nothing compared to the Nickelodeon parent legends like these people, but still, it's not horrible. So apparently the Let's Go kid is the most popular kid in school and has his own fanbase. But Vivian says she doesn't like the attention because again, she's quirky and not like other girls. Timmy shows up at the party with Cosmo and Wanda, which, oh yeah, this is supposed to be a Fairly OddParents show. Also, where is Poof? Like, I'm genuinely concerned. I think we need to send out a fairy Amber Alert for Poof. So, in comes this random girl who is obsessed with taking pictures of the Let's Go kid, and she just keeps doing this for the entire episode. In fact, it's kind of like her entire character in this show, I guess. They play it off as a joke, but where I come from, this is called stalking. She asks Vivian if she thinks the Let's Go kid is gorgeous, which, not even bringing up the fact that Vivian looks at least 4 years older than him, I feel like she should know that they're step-siblings considering she's going to a party about his new step-sibling. But who am I kidding? Why am I trying to make sense of any of this? So a bunch of forced Nickelodeon antics occur, causing the Let's Go kid to have a ladder fall on him, breaking his leg. And so now everyone hates Vivian. She goes up and eats cake in her room, and then the Let's Go kid just appears on the roof, which he literally has a broken leg, so how did he get up there? Timmy shows off Cosmo and Wanda to her, and the Let's Go kid falls through the window and onto some broken glass. But don't worry, because somehow he's perfectly fine from this. Yeah, broken glass is nothing, but apparently wooden ladders are the true dangers of society.
I'm sorry, Robbie Shapiro did not sing an entire song about broken glass for you to disregard how powerful it is.
It turns out he did actually break some ribs, but neither the characters nor even the show seem to care, because we're almost halfway through this episode and hey, it's about time that they remind the audience that this is supposed to be Fairly OddParents. Timmy reveals Cosmo and Wanda to them, but he gets in trouble because the Let's Go kid also saw the reveal. Oh, and I guess now is the time for an intro? We're halfway through the episode, but okay. So, Jorgen hears about what happened, and finally, let's see him actually be consistent to his character from the original show.
He has to be mad at this, right?
Well, apparently he's not mad at all. Instead, he creates a system where they have to take turns making wishes. And his reasoning for it is because it will be funny.
Listen, I'm not going to act like Jorgen was always the smartest character on the show. He had his fair share of semi-airhead funny lines. But he was always at least consistent with how he pushed the rules, and they're just pushing it so far here.
Alright, so Timmy has to leave for college, and hey look, they're actually making this a sad scene, until it's not. Yeah, so instead of being a genuinely emotional ending like I described before, it gets ruined by a joke and a wish by the Let's Go kid. Then, he just leaves the show and his fairies he's had for half of his life.
This is genuinely breaking me. I can't do this anymore.
So now we get left with Vivian and the Let's Go kid. We get a montage of just hilarious family sitcom antics, but neither the Let's Go kid nor Vivian wished for his leg to be fixed. And you guessed it, it's a plot contrivance so they can have the argument later on. I mean, geez, this kid wished for more cake to take his mind off of his broken leg, when he could literally just fix his broken leg.
Timmy, it's not even been 1 minute. Please come back.
Vivian just baits the Let's Go kid because she says, speaking of your broken leg, and then wishes for something that has nothing to do with his broken leg. She wishes for her dad to stop dancing. Oh, and we see the party again.
Wait, what?
Now, hold on a minute. Again, You're telling me that this dude was able to go to the hospital, get a cast, climb up to the roof with a broken leg somehow, have the anticlimactic ending with Wanda and Cosmo, and these people are still partying? I thought they hated Vivian now, so why would they still be celebrating at her surprise party? What is going on? There's no way this show is real. This whole thing has to be some kind of money laundering scheme, right? So now we get to the main conflict between the two main characters. With only 9 minutes left of the episode, Vivian wants to move away to a farm because, again, she's not like other girls.
Yeah, you're kind of different from everyone else around here.
But the Let's Go kid wants her to stay. So much so that she gives her an ultimatum. After Vivian accidentally wishes a bunch of farm animals, the Let's Go kid says he won't wish anything until she promises him that she won't leave. Which, there's a really easy fix for this. Just agree to it and then say Crossies doesn't count. There, problem solved.
Thank you, bowler hat guy. I'd much rather be watching that right now.
Her dad says that people are mad at Vivian about breaking her stepbrother's leg, which, yeah, it seems like they're really distraught over it. They get the farm animals out of there, and then we come across a cop with a really forced New York accent, which I'm genuinely trying to understand the purpose of this scene because it literally doesn't further anyone's story or arc. But I really need to stop thinking so hard about this show, because that's clearly not what the writers intended for their audience to do. The Let's Go kid wants her to stay because he's just always wanted a sibling. I feel like there could have been a deeper explanation that caused all of this conflict, but okay. Like, maybe we can get some commentary on how popularity means nothing if you don't have people that genuinely care about you.
But again, I'm thinking too hard. That's my problem.
So Vivian ends up not being selfish with her wish and fixes the Let's Go kid's broken bones. She also decides to stay with him in Dimsdale. And that's the end, thank God.
Just small question here. What was that?
That was probably the weirdest 24 minutes I have ever experienced. I did not think it would actually be that bad and stupidly written. Not only is the show itself just cringe and not very good, but it completely takes away from the original show, because it speeds up the farewell of Timmy and his fairies just so we can get to these new characters. A farewell which should have been what the entire original show was leading up to. I wish I could pay Mr. Krabs to wipe this show from my memory. The only somewhat praise I can give it is that the parents had some kind of witty lines, and I think the way it's set up where Vivian and the Let's Go kid has to take turns wishing is kind of an interesting idea, but they don't really use it in an interesting way.
Look, maybe it's not fair to judge the show this harshly on the first episode, but if even Paramount Plus isn't confident enough to release it every week, then you know something is going on here.
Also, I skipped to the last episode just to see what was going on, which, what? If this video does well, maybe I'll suffer through the rest of the show with you guys. But as of right now, I'll stick with the original show I fell in love with.
Also, Paramount Plus, if you're watching and taking notes during this video, please give us a victorious revival. That's all I want. I will give Fairly Odd a fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes if you can give us that.